Okay, well, there you go now. Father God. So so we are recording now, thank God. So knowing that, our personal lives affect some, most times the path that we take in life, that's amazing, about that. And so I know that the work you do is very important to, um, business owners, CEOs of nonprofits, because it's like I know a lot of times that they might not understand because I was thinking, I say, I bet some folks in my group, in the Facebook group where we talk about grant funding, and business money and stuff like that, getting qualified for stuff like that, wondering, well, what this got to do with me? It has everything.
Correct.
Everything to do with a business owner, everything to do with a CEO of a nonprofit. And we will get there. We won't get
Mhm.
ahead of ourselves.
Mhm.
But that's another reason why I knew it was important to have this conversation.
Yes,
Because,
ma'am.
when I first started out, I didn't understand why my personal finances had anything to do with business funding and all these other things. So you're going to get into that. But what I want you to go ahead and do is start telling us more about these four pillars of financial literacy that are key components to doing the things that we're talking about tonight. So
Okay.
you have the mic.
So,
Take it away.
when we talk about financial literacy, it's actually the difference between living paycheck to paycheck and understanding the four pillars of money. That's budgeting, that's debt, saving and investing, and we call protection, which is life insurance for your family. And all this comes into play building wealth. So it doesn't matter if you're a small business owner, if you're a corporation, it all starts with what are you doing at home? Before you became a small business owner, how are you managing your budgets? So, like I said, I've been helping corporations with their budgets for 40 plus years. Their budgets usually start in October to be approved for the next month. So it takes anywhere from 2 to 3 months before their budget is approved for the next year, for the next annual year. So, as ordinary people, we don't have to figure out our budget for next year, but we do want to make sure that we talk about. So let's talk about pillar number one, which is budgeting. Budgeting is simply a plan, the money that's coming in and the money that's going out. But are you managing that money? It's a simple plan. It's different budget strategies. You can have an 80-20 plan. You can have a 50-30-20 plan. 80% of your necessity, 20% of your wants, or you can have 50% of your necessity, 30% of your wants, and then 20% of what we call fun money. But each person is different when it comes to budget. But the most important thing when it comes to budgeting, stick with it. So if you set a plan 80-20 or 50-30-20, stick with that plan. When I work with my clients, we do what we call a zero budget because every dollar has a job. When I say every dollar has a job. So at the end of the month, we do what we call a zero budget. So say at the end of the month, you have $100. That $100 need to go somewhere. Every dollar has a job. So that $100, you can put it towards your savings. You can put it towards paying off a credit card. You can put it towards, you know what? I don't have anything to do with this money. I'm going to buy so and so. But every dollar has a job. So that's what I do when I work with my clients. We talk about budgeting and the importance of having a budget. So it doesn't matter, like I said, if you're a small business owner, if you're a big business owner, but your budget starts in your household. Does that make sense, Miss Anita?
So much sense. Look, I already wrote down every dollar has a job. And you use that plan of the zero budget. So I love the fact that you said if there, after you're done with your budget, and then there's something left over, give it something to do.
Correct.
Give
Correct.
it
Every
something
dollar
to
has
do.
its job. Every dollar has its job. So
Yes, I
that's
love it.
the first pillar when we talk about financial literacy. Everyone, even if you have a budget, sometimes people don't always stick with their budget, which is fine. But at least try to have something set up. It can be a quick Excel spreadsheet. You work, you get paid every 2 weeks. This is the money that's coming in. or you do it for a month. So you get paid every 2 weeks. Say that's $3,000. You put that in your budget. Then you have your bills, what's going to be paid out, your mortgage, your rent, your car expenses, and then what's left over at the end of the month. Like I said, that money needs to go somewhere. So we do a $0 budget with my clients, and it really does make a difference. And I actually learned this from another financial planner. I didn't know that, and I've been doing budgets for years. And he's the one that taught me, and now I use that with my clients.
I love that. Oh my goodness. So that's the first pillar, right? Did you say, and what did you call it? It's not that, is it every dollar has a job? Is that it? Or that's just a saying?
No, that's the saying. Every dollar has a job. So
Oh,
now, anyone that's here on Facebook Live, just remember when you do your budget, every dollar has a job. So that $20 that you have at the end of the month, okay, I'm gonna go spend it on something. Or you know what, this $20, I don't need it for anything. I'm gonna put it in my emergency fund. I'm gonna pay towards my credit card. But every dollar has a job.
right. So is the first pillar, because I did miss some of it. Is the first pillar have a budget?
That is correct. The first
Okay.
pillar is to have a budget. Yep.
Okay. All right,
Mhm.
great. Okay, pillar two. I'm good. I'm a good
Pillar
student.
two.
I'm sorry. I had to go get this charger. All right, we good now.
Okay, pillar two is debt management, and that's your credit cards. So when it comes to your credit cards was actually created way back when for an emergency, not
Mm,
for I want that pair of shoes or I want that nice dress or I want that suit. It wasn't created for that. It was
okay.
created for an emergency. But now, because of the economy, people have to use their credit cards because because they just have no choice. During the pandemic, people are still paying off debt from their credit card from the pandemic because people had to use their credit card. So when it comes to your credit cards, there's a few factors that's very important when it comes to your credit card. Basically, society is based on credit. So you want to keep a good credit score. And how you do that is two main things that you can do to keep a good credit score. You want to make sure you make your payments on time. So you can make it before they're due, but definitely don't make it after it's due. Okay. And then the other thing that's going to help you with your credit score is what we call utilization. And that means the amount of money that you're using on each credit card. They said the rule is don't use no more than 30% of that credit card. So say you have a credit card for $100. So you should not be using more than $30 a month on that credit card and pay it down. Okay. Because what happens is you use 30% and then you get your credit card, you accumulated some interest. So that might put you over the 30%. That can drop your score anywhere from 10 to 30 points.
Wow. Yeah,
Just being
that's what.
over 1% over 30%. So I always recommend my clients to stay within 25%. So if that interest does come through in that next month, it's not going to bulk, that it's not going to bulk, bulk it up all the way a difference of 5%. Okay. So that's the main two things when it comes to credit. And then the second thing is how do you pay off your credit cards? Because when it comes to paying off your credit cards, you want to try to pay, if you can, the minimum balance plus the interest rate on that credit card for the month. So if you have a small business, you have a business credit card, you want to pay off, say the minimum balance for that credit card is $100 a month. Okay. But say the interest rate for that, the interest you got for that month was $28. So you want to pay the $100 minimum plus the 28. And the reason why is if you just paid $100, 28 of that is going to go to your interest first. The leftover is going to go to your balance. So people wonder why my balance is not going down. That is the reason why, because you're just paying your minimum. So another recommendation, I tell my clients, if you can, pay off the minimum plus the interest rate. But if you can pay off more than the minimum and interest rate, do that because you want your credit card balance to go down. And so it's two ways you can pay off your credit card when it comes to debt management. We have the snowball effect and we have the avalanche effect. Your snowball effect is you're paying off the credit card with the smallest balance first. And then That money, once you pay off that credit card, you're going to take that same money and apply it to your next credit card. That's why they call it snowball. So as that money that you're paying, it's like a snowball. The snowball is building and building, but the debt is going smaller and smaller. Okay, does that make sense?
It does. I think I've used that one somewhat before. I was
Mhm.
looking a little bit better than I am now. But go ahead.
So you know what? When you do that, it actually motivates people. It's like, man, I paid off this $500 credit card. I always tell people celebrate. I have a client where I have four more credit cards to pay off, but you paid off that one.
That's right.
Celebrate those small wins because you
Celebrate
don't
it.
want to feel like you're just working to be working, just paying off credit cards.
Right.
But one thing I say is when you pay off that credit card stays at home. You don't take it out to celebrate, you take cash because now you have additional cash to use. So that's the snowball effect. And then the other way you can pay off your credit card is the avalanche effect. And what that is you take the credit card with the highest interest rate and you pay that one off first. Because when you have a high interest rate, that interest, you're just giving the money to that financial institution. So some people like to do the the avalanche effect. I want to pay off the highest interest rate first and then go from there. But the same thing, once you pay off that high interest rate, take that same money, apply it to your next credit card. So you're going to feel more accomplished. You're going to feel like you're accomplished something. Would you
Hmm.
believe last year, back in November, I got a credit card, one of those pre-approved credit cards in the mail? Would you
Hmm.
believe the interest rate was 38.99%?
That's crazy.
Highway robbery.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when it comes to your credit card, people don't realize the higher your interest rate on your credit card, the more you're paying to that financial institution. So you have a $20 dress you bought. It's like, what, I'm gonna put this on credit, but you didn't pay it off. So that $20 dress now is $20 plus interest. You didn't pay off $20 plus more interest. So always think about when you use your credit card, is it for a want or is it for a need? Is it a necessity? So that's pillar number two, paying off those credit card debt, being in control of your debt management. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So my question is, I'm actually, you know, in the process of doing some of this
Mhm.
prayerfully. Yeah. But another question I have is when it comes to the credit cards themselves, once you pay them off, is it damaging to close the accounts or should we just keep it and don't use it?
Okay, it is damaging when you close your account because what's happening is when you close that account, you have less money that they're accumulating. So
Mm.
if you close that account, say you had $5,000 worth of credit, you close that account, it was $1,000. So now you're only working with $4,000. So now that 4,000 depends on the credit card can actually put you over the 30% based on where your credit card is. So we already, my recommendation is never close your credit card, but at least every 2 to 3 months, buy something because what's going to happen with some situations, the actual company itself will close your credit card because you didn't use it.
Mm.
So even if you use it once or twice a month, you have a credit card, American Express or Visa, get gas and then pay it off. But because what's happening is that, the credit card company is saying, well, you ain't used this card. You don't need this credit. We're going to close your account. So now that's going to reduce your spending power. And now that's going to reduce your utilization as well.
Wow. So we got questions. Look, I got questions coming in through my cell phone. Uh, so I'm like, okay, let's don't forget that one. They do have a question. I don't want to forget that. But also, and I don't want to hold you up because I know we got two more pills to talk about. But so we were talking about closing those out. The reason I have a concern with it because some of my credit cards
Mhm,
have annual fees. So
mhm,
it's like should I just go ahead and keep it and just go on and pay that annual fee? So I won't
mhm.
have to go through what you was just talking about. Is that just the best way to do that then?
It would be, and then it depends on what your annual fee is. If it's not a lot, say 50, $100. If it's not a lot, I would keep that credit card open because also the longer you have your credit card, they look at that credit card history as well. So say you close out the credit card that has the longest history. So now your credit history went from 10 years, you closed out that credit card. So now it went down to 3 years because those credit cards that you have left is only 3 years. So yeah, so if you really have to close out a credit card, close out the one that has the least amount of years that you've been using because that also affects your credit score as well.
Okay. Somebody's asking me over here, what did she say about such and such again? I'm telling her I'm gonna share the notes with you and I'm gonna share the recording. But I don't want to hold you up no more. Go on to pillar 3. Here we go.
Okay. Pillar 3 is saving and investing, and we actually combine those together. So saving and investing, first it start with an emergency fund, emergency plan, emergency funding account. And so some people call it a rainy day fund, some people call it a reserved account, because one thing about, when it comes to credit card, we all need liquid money. So we all need some type of emergency saving account. They said that you should have 3 to 6 months of your living expenses in your saving account. Now we know during the pandemic, 6 million people or more lost their jobs. We know 6 million people didn't have 3,000, say their monthly expenses was $3,000. So that's minimum 6,000. People barely have $500 in emergency fund, but we all need liquid money. So I always tell people, start with a small goal, start with $500. Take that 500 and say, okay, I want $500 in 6 months. 500 divided by 6. What do you have to put in every 6 months? Or if you get paid every 2 weeks, what do you have to put in every 2 weeks? But start with a small goal and then build on that goal. Because I always tell my clients, start where you are. People say, well, I don't have an emergency fund. Do you have $20 every pay period? Do you have minimum $40 every pay period? Start where you are. $40 at the beginning of the year. At the end of the year, that's $480 that you have that you did not have at the beginning of the year. So it doesn't matter where you start, how much you start with, but you got to start. Okay. So that's your emergency saving fund. A good way to think about that, make things automated. So you get paid every 2 weeks, your money goes into your checking account and say, okay, you know what? The money that goes in my checking account, I want $50 to go to my savings account every 2 weeks. Automatic, out of sight, out of mind. You're not going to think about it because it's already gone. So you don't think about it. That's another good way as far as having a saving account. Also, another good way is if you get a bonus. Now you have the extra money. You didn't have it like 2 months ago. Put a portion of that in your emergency savings. And then if you get like we get annual raises. I didn't have $50 from last month, so now that's additional $50. I can put that in my saving account. So those are just ways to do automatic saving. And then investing, always tell people you are never going to save your way to wealth. Not putting your money in the bank because the bank is giving you 0.03, 0.06. Did you know the average interest rate is 0.18% when they took all the banks across America?
That's crazy.
That's just crazy. Now we have those online high yield saving accounts, the SoFi, the Allies. Try to invest in one of those. You have your checking account. That's another automatic. Take the money from your checking account, SoFi, Ally, American Express. That's another way. But when it comes to investing, I am not a financial advisor. I'm a financial education specialist. I cannot help people with their stocks and their bonds and their Roth and things like that. But I do work with quite a few financial advisors that are reputable, loyal, trustworthy. Because one thing about a financial advisor, they are managing your money. So you want to make sure that you are working with a loyal, trustworthy financial advisor. One of my clients told me last year she had to fire her investment advisor. She lost over $300,000 in her investment. She was a government worker. $300,000. That's a lot of money. That's a lot. So investing is really, really important. If you work in a corporate job, you have a 401k, that's your investment for your retirement. You have an IRA. If you're military, you have a TSP account. If you're a nonprofit, you have a 457 or a 403B, and then you have your 401k, so those are different ways for investment as well. So investing is really, really important. But like I said, the most important thing is to work with a trustworthy, loyal financial advisor. So that is pillar number 3, ma'am.
I love it. And we're moving right on to 4. What we got for pillar number 4?
Okay, pillar number 4 is protection. And what that is life insurance for you and your family. Because, God forbid something happened to the breadwinner. Yes, we know we can't replace you, but we want to have at least something in place for your family. So I am a life insurance broker. I am independent. I do not work for a company. I go out there and I research the best life insurance for my client. Because every life insurance is not one size fit all. It doesn't. You have term, you have permanent. One size does not fit all. So I always ask my clients, what is your goal when it comes to life insurance? Do you want to leave something for your children or your family? Do you want this to not have to worry about financial burden on your family? I just want final expense. Nobody have to worry about, when it comes to my funeral, what needs to be done. So it's different ways when it comes to life insurance, but protection plan or life insurance is part of financial planning. It is part of financial literacy. So those are the 4 pillars: budgeting, debt management, saving and investing, and protection. And all of that will create wealth for your family. But financial literacy is the difference between living paycheck to paycheck and understanding those 4 pillars.
Wow, that was a lot. I can't believe you got all that in this little time that we said we was gonna do it in. Ooh, girl, you dropped some nuggets. I'm over here writing, trying to flip my page over. My little fan over here blowing my pages on my tablet. I'm like, come on, work with me now. I'm over here trying to got people asking me questions. I'm over here like the man behind this curtain on the Wizard of Oz. I'm just telling you. Oh my goodness, Cheryl, that is amazing. Look at my mom done joined. Hey, mama. I'm looking over here on my phone, girl, at Facebook Live. So, oh my God, I don't want to forget the question that somebody had, right? And then I have a question pertaining to, something we were talking about earlier as far as, business owners and everybody. So let me go back to my text and ask the question that came in. It says, she was, when you were talking about credit cards, she was like, "Is this for credit cards, or does she answer questions? Oh, do you answer questions on how to pay off a house?" And her friend was asking her that. So we got friends asking friends. So is this just pertaining to credit cards, but does it has also pertain to paying off a house when you?
Well, actually, your house is an asset, so it's still considered credit. So it's different ways you can pay off your house payment as well. But that actually depends on your mortgage company. They say if you make your payment instead of like one monthly payment, if you divide that monthly payment up into every 2 weeks, it's like it's the same amount, but you're applying it against your balance, your principal. So those are different ways that can help people but like I said, every mortgage company is different, because I know my daughter, her mortgage company, she can't do it every 2 weeks. She got to make that one monthly payment. But some mortgage companies will work with you and say, okay, you can pay it off every 2 weeks. And when you think about it, it's the same money, but it's the way the money is applied to your principal.
We were actually doing that a couple of years ago, and then like you said, life happened. Right. It was like, okay, we can't do this. Well, what we were doing was, I think it was paying mortgage on a half or something like that, because we was trying to pay. We were wanting to pay it off early. I think that's if I'm saying it right. I don't know if my son's on here or not, but yes. Well, thank you for addressing that. So my question is, and let me look back over on Facebook too. I don't see any questions there. So my question is, I was telling you that we were going to host this in my grants and funding group, so that they would have this information, over there. but we ended up doing it over here because of the settings and everything. But I'm like, I wonder, do any of them, are they questioning why would I need to know about financial literacy when I just want a grant for my business or my nonprofit? And so you and I were talking off camera about the
Mhm.
importance of why that's important. Can you share
Correct.
with the folks why that's important?
Because you're writing a grant and you're trying to figure out, the money you want for this grant.
Mhm.
So having a budget is really, really important as well. But it all starts with your budgeting at home. So it doesn't matter if you're, like I said, if you're a small business owner, you still have a household budget. So if you're managing your household budget and when you get ready to write your grant, you're a little bit more cognizant of how you're going to write this grant for the money that you need. You know what I'm saying? And
Oh,
we
I
don't
do.
we don't think about it like that. So, yeah, everybody wants to be a small business owner. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, which is
Mhm.
not an easy job, trust me.
Mm.
But we got to know what we need to do to be able to write those grants. Like, okay, I want $100,000. Well, why do you want $100,000? Well, I need 50,000 for here, 20,000 for here, 25 for here. That's your budget for your grants.
That's right. That's right. Because look, I tell people all the time when I'm educating on that process is they're gonna ask you, well, what you gonna do with this money? And what you and I were talking about was if you don't know how to manage your own money, they're gonna see when they start asking you particular questions. And this you all applies to getting your business credit. This
Mhm.
applies to getting your business loans as well.
Correct.
So listen to us.
Correct.
Your personal affects everything.
Yep.
Okay. They're
Mhm.
going to look at your personal first.
Mhm.
And if they see that you ain't got no, okay, I can already tell they ain't got no bookkeeper, they ain't got no system in place
Mhm.
to break down everything. What are your profits? What are your losses? What does your balance sheet look like? They're
Correct.
going to ask you these questions when it comes to these
Correct.
loans and credit for
Correct.
you. When it
Correct.
comes to these grants, what
Mhm.
they're going to look at, they're going to ask specific questions. You know, you can go understand or know, well, how they kind of figure that out. They're going to understand from how you reply to their question. Oh, yeah, they don't know how to manage the money they have now.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
no, we're not going to fund them because they
Right.
don't have anything in place to do that.
Right.
So, it's going to be a telltale when
Mhm.
you don't do your own personal right, you
Right.
don't have that down pat right,
Mhm.
then ain't nobody else gonna give you no money. And I used to, when I was you go through these business trainings, and I remember going through one, and it was, we was learning a lot about how to qualify for loans and
Mhm.
things of that nature. And what we were being taught was they only give money to people that already got money. I'm like, well, what I need to ask for money for then? If I that doesn't make any sense to me. But what that says to the banks and what that says to these funders when it comes to grants, if you already had somebody that has
Mhm.
funded you, they
Mhm.
like, and then you show them the numbers you got. Oh, okay. Somebody already has, I don't want to say use the word deposit, but somebody else has contributed to
Correct.
helping them build because they know what they're doing. We can
Correct.
see they know how to manage. We can see that other people have seen that. So yeah,
Mhm.
people are more willing when they see
Correct.
you got something and you know what you're doing.
Correct. Yeah.
Am I talking right? Am I talking good? I don't know.
You are talking correct, ma'am. That is so, so true. Even when it comes to your business credit card, same rule applies, less than
Mm,
30%, because that's going to affect your, I think it's called Dun and Bradstreet. That's going to
mm,
affect your credit score for your business, you
yeah.
know. So what you do at home is going to reflect in what you do with your business.
Come on with it. Come on. That's right. That's right. That's right. So I didn't see any other questions, you all. If you had questions, please go ahead, put them in the chat. Cheryl is going to only be here a few more minutes. We'll get ready to shut it down here soon. But what I do want to make sure is, Cheryl, that you put, well, what we'll do is go ahead and at least share your contact information where people can find you, how they can reach
Mhm.
you. And yeah, so if they want to continue this conversation, they can go ahead and contact you directly.
Okay. Well, they can contact me. Like I said, my company is Empowered Legacy Financial. I'm working on my new website because I just rebranded myself. But they can contact me based on my email. So it's actually my last name, Blakeney, Blakeney dot empowered legacy at gmail.com. So that's Blakeney dot empowered legacy at gmail.com. And then also, I have a calendar link and I can share that with you, Anita, if you want to share that. They can set up a 30-minute strategy call. Anyone that I do a weekly webinar on Thursdays as well at 7 p.m. It's called Navigating Financial Freedom. And I talk a little bit more about everything we talked about, the 4 pillars. I talk about the rule of 72, how your money grow, how your money get taxed. So it's a little bit more involved. So I actually have a webinar. I can actually send that information to you as well. That's every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And it's just additional financial literacy.
I love that. I didn't know you did that weekly. That is so amazing. That's why I'm like, look, my hat goes off to anybody that does the kind of work that you do. Because honey, look, I know how to spend it, but I'm learning how to bring it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, all of this is important. So thank you so much for sharing today, Cheryl. We appreciate all these nuggets, this wisdom that you brought for us, so that we can continue to make a difference, in our communities, starting
Yes.
from home though first, right? So from
Yes.
our home to our neighborhoods, to our
Mhm.
communities, our cities, our state, and then the world. So I
Correct.
thank you for what you do on a constant basis. I'm looking over here, seeing that I see some bubbles going on my phone over here. But just giving them a few minutes if they have any other um yeah. Any other questions? I don't think we have any other questions, but make sure, Cheryl, that you do send me those links and that
Yes, ma'am.
information. And what you can do, because what I'm doing is, I'll be sharing more of your information in our
Mhm.
emails as well. So that
Mhm.
goes out to our folks.
Okay.
So, but what I would like for you to do as soon as this live is over with, go to the comments on
Mhm.
my page on the live and put your information in there so we can make sure folks get that from the page as well. Okay.
Okay. That
And then
sounds
what you
good.
can also do is, even from this live, like we were talking about before, you can share it on your page. Once it's done doing what it do on Facebook, you can just
Mhm.
go to that little thing and share it on your page.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you, Anita.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. Actually, I
Yes.
have a mission for this month as well. So last month was actually Women's History Month, and
Yes.
April is Financial Literacy Month. So I actually created a presentation just for women. It's called Financial Literacy for Women, and I want to be able to reach as many organizations pertaining to women in the
Mm,
month of April. I mean, financial literacy is in April, but financial literacy is the whole year.
okay. That
But we
part.
got to start somewhere, So
Yes.
I would love to share that information on your page as well. If you
Yes.
know any organizations, sororities, church congregations, women Bible studies, any woman that can use financial literacy, because I always tell people, women, we rule the world. I'm sorry, guys, but we rule the world. But so we want to just make sure that we have that financial education when it comes to our finances. Like I said,
Yes.
I'm doing that for the whole month of April and beyond, but I want to do it. That's my mission for the month of April, to reach out
Mm.
to as many women organizations that I can bring my information to, because I was blessed with this information almost 10 years ago. I want to be able to be a blessing to others.
I love that. I love that. So you and I would definitely be talking about how we can get this out to even a bigger, community of folks. So thank you again so much, Cheryl, for being here this evening. I appreciate you. I'm looking forward to more and more of the things that we would do together. All right.
Sounds good. Thanks, Anita. You have a blessed day and a great
Yes.
weekend.
Thank you so much. And you
Okay.
all, thank you for joining us today as well. Cheryl will be putting her contact information, if you didn't get a chance to get it, in the comments once we're done with this live. So, as always, we want you to continue to make a difference and we want you to continue to be blessed. Hey, God bless you, and we'll see you all next time. Take care. Happy Financial Literacy Month. See
Bye, guys.
y'all next time. Bye for now.